BlazBlue Entropy Effect. I told you all I was gonna like this game, and I could tell from basically the very beginning. Even besides it being a BlazBlue game, it's a roguelike game, and it's basically right up my alley in terms of action. As far as I know, everyone who has been commenting on the last videos and playing this game are all in love with Hakumen, and I cannot play Hakumen to save my life. This is going to be my run-through with Hakumen as we go over all the aspects of the game. Ragna gives me a little bit of healing on the skill, but then Lambda has something that is actually, I think, really strong. Every time she takes damage, you have like an X amount of time to get your health back, and I don't think anyone has defensive like that. So for a character like Hakumen that probably gets hit a lot, like just to say that, I think it's a really good idea. We have our tactics here. First thing that you get when you clear your first area. They're giving me basic attack Ren. Every 4 basic attacks, you apply Ren. Rendered enemies take damage every time they move. Oh, you gotta go for potential here. Like, you can't pass this. This is honestly what the whole game is all about. If I were to ever do a montage of best things about BlazBlue, it's gotta be this. So we have Kokujin Yukikaze. The blink by the skill does damage multiple times. I haven't used that before, and I'm kind of thinking that I need to start learning how to use his skill more often. We also have Sekka. The heavy strike is now a blink that can power up and attack enemies forward and behind. That's also really cool because typically I would play this with just his little combo. So I'm gonna grab Sekka. This lets me charge up, and it does like this charge attack, and it hits in both directions. There's like a line that's behind you and in front of you. So the next training area, let's practice this. 1500, not bad. You do have to watch out, but as you see, like, I gotta do that more often. You can press the parry button and then attack, and then he'll actually just attack with his normal skill without having to do a parry at all. Shoot, I even use it sometimes to just move around the screen. One thing that Hakumen also has is no iframes on his dodge. So whenever you see me press the circle button, I'm actually just like charging forward. I'm not actually dodging anything. Ooh, okay, that clears really well. Next, tactics. So we're not gonna do summon because that involves pressing down, and we're never gonna do that. Trap resistance, I haven't really found a need for. So skill puncture. Every time we do a skill on an enemy, it gets a shadow mark that explodes later. We're gonna practice doing skills more often, so I think it's a good idea. Summon Ring of Fire. Every 5 seconds, get a ring. That's like around my character, and I'm already melee, so that's a good idea. Impact Shockwave is pretty good too because Hakumen does push enemies a lot, but we're gonna stick to the flame. Now, if you look at the top right of my screen, we have something called Entropy. Entropy in this game is like a melee system in Dead Cells. Every time that you go through areas, you get points, and those points move the difficulty up. But the difficulty is like a chance that something will happen. So that's a 4% chance that our legacy skills, which is L2 and R2, go on like a longer cooldown. All right, I only have 170 bucks here, so I'm gonna go in for more training. I still don't want to rest because, I mean, 4% chance of a bad thing, we take those odds every time. 120 is still like relatively decent, and I think every time I clear something with this much entropy, I get bonus money for it. Struck Puncture. When you take a hit, add Shadow. Multi-Ren. Ren deals damage 2 more times. So again, Ren does damage every time the monster is pushed. And I think even if they walk, they take damage too. Alright, first boss. Let's see which one we get. I like the bosses in the game. I did unfortunately get reduced skill damage from the entropy. But the parry is pretty strong as is. I don't know if it reduces it that much. Alright, our first boss is the tentacle eyeball thing. Defiling Eye, apparently. This unanimously, I've looked on Discord, I've looked on Reddit, I've looked on Twitter, unanimously the worst boss in the game. Not that it's difficult, not that it is like poorly manageable from a player standpoint. It is like probably one of the most boring things. I almost hate showing it to you all, so we're gonna fast forward through this a little bit. All I have to do is wait for it to fall. I do my combo, and then it's gonna go back up and I have to do it 2 more times. You are missing nothing. All right, so now that's over, we have potential. Isaha, your dash goes farther. Hey, I actually don't mind that at all. Shiden does a blink on dash, and then Rakurai, I think, is seismic toss. You like grab the monster and then you suplex it. And I don't think I'm doing a combo build today. Ooh, that's some good distance. All right, next fights. So I can still do my charge attack. Basically kills everyone. If not, it pushes them away. This thing, I don't think you can parry the grab. Though to be fair, I've never tried. So as I said, we're on this entropy system. We're at 120. We have a 20% chance of MP recovery down. Like, do I care about that on Hakumen? Not really. If I want to play like a skill-focused build, I should probably think about lowering it at some point. But now we're looking at 50% get heavy armor, which is really bad. So I'm going to go into the gamble to see if maybe I can find something to reduce entropy. I think that's in here. XP, dash bomb is actually pretty good. I used that on the well before. But there's exterminating Ren. Instantly delete an enemy that has Ren on it. And that's obviously what we're going for. So let's go ahead and grab that. Rend is blade tactics, by the way. So if you ever see something that like enhances blade, that's what you want to pick up. All right, so reducing our entropy gets rid of heavy armor, which is honestly better than reducing the skill damage, because heavy armor just means every monster lasts longer, not just that my skills are making the fight longer. Can I push you off? No. All right. Now as I said, don't have dodge roll on this character. You have a dash, but it's really just a an impact. Now speaking of Lambda, I use the portal on Lambda every single chance I get. It's probably one of the best in the whole game. And like her passive's really good too. I feel like as the characters, like I don't want to do a tier list, but I think Lambda's kind of high up on the list. Kind of odd fire placement right here. The enemies do get hit by the hazards. Oh my god, of course I'm just gonna walk right into it. Is that fair? Because I'm doing the parry. And like, I don't know where I'm gonna end up. But it's kind of a fun system that you can just push enemies into hazards. I feel like push is a very powerful mechanic in any roguelite. So I'm glad to see that there's like impact and stuff like that, and it all matters. It's all part of like juggling too. Now my issue with Hakumen is the parry itself. Like I was having trouble using that. Ooh, double? Wait, no, this is a duo boom. This is part Umbra, part Blade. So it's shadow puncture, significantly knocked back samples, dealing inflicted with Ren and dealing double damage to them. That means if you put shadow puncture on someone, I believe our skill does that, then we have a better Ren. Potential. All right, we got this really early. I like that. I don't know what we're looking for though. Kandachi, your third combo of heavy strike sends a shockwave, and there's a synergy on Sekka. Renka, down, basic, perform multiple physical attacks. Yanagi, basic attack and dash to grab. I know we're not doing the grabs, so Kendachi is probably the way to go here. The synergy is that when you use Sekka, send additional shockwaves. Ooh, the downward attack looks really good. Oh, and now when we hold the button, we're doing attacks from like both sides. Like we were doing attacks from both sides just with the regular slash, but now it sends out this energy wave. So I'm going into the shop. I have a ton of cash. $297. We're gonna buy some meta currency because I guess that's always a good thing right now. Then I'll buy a new tactics. Death Shadow Spike. When a sample is inflicted with Shadow Mark and dies, the shadow gets sucked out. Meanwhile, shadow punctures deal more damage. So we've seen a lot of roguelikes, right? This is the classic pick 3 from like a boon system. I actually ended up picking Efficient Breach instead, which gives us bonus damage to armor. Armor will always be in the game, regardless of if I have like the entropy effect or not. So I figure that's just gonna help us overall. And the shadow mark thing, it was cool, but we're talking consistency right now. We need consistency. See, instant heavy armor. Good decision making. See what I mean about the hazards actually breaking stuff? That's so nice. All right, parry, slash. I love doing that. Like, okay, Hakumen I didn't care for at first, but now that I've seen parry, slash, it's actually really fun. All right, another pick 3. My entropy is low, so I don't need to rest. I have 160 bucks, which is enough to buy like one $150 thing, which is like the best thing that you can get. And it happens to be a health pot. Health pots are kind of hard to come by in this game. You start off with a certain amount and then you have to buy them as you see them. So at 150, go into the shop, hope you get lucky. Second boss, honestly, this boss I do not mind at all. I think this is probably the easiest of the tier 2 bosses. It's a robot, it can grab you, it can fire missiles, but it's all very manageable as long as you can dodge, unlike me. See what I mean about Lambda's healing? I got back, what, maybe 10% of that damage I took? Nice parry. All right, phase 2. It's gonna charge up. You can't hurt it, so you may as well just focus on dodging. I gotta remember what's applying our rend. Is it skill? I think it had rend on just then. I think there's an icon over the monster's head. Okay, that was Shadow Mark. Not the hardest boss to have to deal with. Honestly, the tree boss, in my opinion, is the worst boss in the game. Worst as in most difficult. Potential. Hokujin Yukikaze came back. So now the skill does additional damage. Isaha adds iframes to our dodge. That's really important. Yeah, so long term, now we have to think about the next bosses, especially this boss. Tier 3 boss, the Cherry Blossom Girl, you absolutely need iframes on dodge to get through this. Now, the big part about winning a roguelike game, regardless of what it is making sure that you're playing towards what your build does. So I was trying to figure out where does our rend come from. The rend comes from our 4th basic attack. We don't have rend on anything else, so we have to make sure that if we're picking up stuff to buff rend, that we're actually like doing basic attacks on enemies. I don't know for sure if heavy strike counts as that. I'm a little worried that it does not. But I mean, these basic monsters don't really need to get rended, I guess. And pretty much every time I have to do a heavy attack, I'm doing a basic attack right before that anyway. So I feel like we're not getting basic attacks. I just wish it also applied on the heavy strike. I wonder if that's too strong. Like if that's something that a dev might want to include. So we're gonna reroll here. Nothing that really caught my eye. Thunderstorm summons a thunder cloud whenever you use your legacy skill. Like I said, I've been spamming Lambda's portal as much as I can. So every time I do that, I get a thundercloud. I also have an inherited ability that does paralysis on thunderbolts. I don't know if the lightning chain from the cloud counts as thunderbolt, but there's only one way to find out. Again, 16% chance to reduce damage. We take those odds. I'm going into the extensive training. Good parry. See, there's one basic attack in there. We're actually doing them. It's not like all the time, but it's there. Okay, so there's the thunder. It's doing lightning chain just like it said it would. I know I've seen a lot of people say that it's hard to tell when your tactics are actually doing something. When I'm playing the game, I can see my shadow mark. I can see my thundercloud. The lightning chain, sure, I'll say is like a little thin, right? So maybe there's a little bit of improvement that could be there, but there's so much happening on the screen already. I'm always afraid about adding more clutter. So the shadow mark, that's enough. We're also doing the flame ring around my character, so that's another particle that you have to think about. Training, exchange, we only have 70 bucks. So we gotta go into training. 40% chance of monsters reviving from the dead. That's kinda awful, but I'm wasting the biome if I go into the shop, I think. The shadow mark is so good. Like, I gotta do the skill plus shadow mark more often. It's actually really fun. Ooh, Lambda's portal just soloed that stuff. All right, new choices. Lightning chains chain more. We do have lightning chains. Mark fatigue. Samples inflicted with shadow mark take even more shadow damage. I think we take that. We did get Return of the Dead, so let's go ahead and rest and see if we can get rid of it. 70% of missiles is actually really bad too. So this is where like the roguelike portion of like difficult runs comes in, and you're trying to balance risk and reward. I've had a few people who say that they aren't particularly sure about the risk reward system. But if you're thinking about just the money you get from the meta being if your entropy is too high, you get a little bit of bonus money from it. I think that's not the only part to remember. You're also choosing from the pick 3, like what kind of encounter you want to have. And if resting is skipping potential, then you are going to be weaker. That's the risk reward. Like, you're risking the chance of monsters reviving for picking up potential, or going into elite training, or doing Gamba for more XP, stuff like that. I think it's a really cool system. Can it be tweaked? Absolutely. I'll allow that anything can be tweaked, so long as it's like helpful for everybody. But for right now, I actually enjoy the concept of I am going to choose to get the bad detriment to pick up potential. I'm gonna go for regular training because it heals me. 3% does seem kind of low, but if you think about it, if you picked up 5 of those, that was a 15% heal throughout the course of the game. I think it could maybe get bumped up to 5%, or like elite might be 3% because it gives you more rewards anyway, and then regular training is 5%. Either way, I like the idea of, hey, here's 2 sort of similar choices, but one of them is buffed and the other one's not. This is such a beautiful game too. Like, look at the background. I don't know if regular BlazBlue fighting game has these, like, I don't know if you'll call this like cyberpunk, fiery cyberpunk aesthetic. Either way, like, I actually really enjoy it. We're not gonna rest here. We're at 83. We're in no danger. Telehunter is monsters just teleport to you. That's fine. We do that in Dead Cells anyway. Summon Portal. Now that we dash farther and we have iframes on dash, it's so much nicer playing Hakumen. I guess I slept on this character. And or, because it's a roguelike game, perhaps I am trash until I, like, practice. Mayhaps I got good at Hakumen. Trap resistance, Ring of Fire evolution, penetrating stun. So I've never had Ring of Fire, I think, ever. So having the evolution on it, I don't know what that's gonna look like. So I'm just waiting on it to activate. You can kind of see in the bottom right-hand corner, those are all of the different tactics that we've picked up. One of them is Ring of Flame, and it has like a little bit of a line on it showing that it's filling up, and that when it's full is when it activates. Potential from Gamba, okay. I don't know what we still need at this point. Kokojin Yukikaze came back. Jinrai, that's like a parry thing. And then triple dash. We already have some synergies on Yukikaze, so we're gonna grab this. Yukikaze, you travel a farther distance. And then Yukikaze is, of course, our parry skill. Ooh, wait. That's like the whole screen. All right, extensive training, regular training, and more Gamba. We have a 73% chance of reducing our basic attack, which would be really bad, but that's the game for you. That's the roguelite. Okay, so I think I saw the Ring of Flame. It's gonna do it again, right? Yeah. So it changed to this like ball that goes around you. Ooh, is that faster? It does more damage for sure. It's like 1,000 damage. It does more than my basic attack and a little bit less than my buffed up heavy strike. Now see, an enemy situation like this is like awful to me, having 2 samurai. Honestly, the samurai, so people have said on like Discord and whatnot that some of the enemies are punching bags, and with every roguelike, like the first couple enemies are gonna be punching bags, and probably as you increase difficulty it will be not so bad. Shadow punctures are larger. Rending upgrade. Rending does more damage. Again, we just need to apply rending like the one time, especially on the boss, and I think it sticks for a while. Crap, we got reduced basic attack damage. So even though I would like to do more training, I think what you do here is Gamba, because we already have reduced attack and reduced skill. So I'd like to not fight. This is again like that decision making that I really, really like. Even though we're like getting screwed here with only 10% XP, don't know what that's supposed to be. Now I get the chance to rest. Resting clears. We're at 233. We go down to 46, and we got rid of the basic attack. Intermittent thunderbolts sounds bad, just to say that. I don't know if that's something that Hakumen can deal with, but now that I have like iframe dash and whatnot, it should be good. Ooh, sick parry, doesn't do anything though. I like this boss. This is one where like if I were to do a montage of this game, I would actually show this boss like every time. Now, unfortunately, I can't dash. I think I will go too far and land in a laser. So I need to make sure wherever I am, I commit to that spot. Now look at the gameplay though. So I can do, see, I moved a little too close. So I can do my parry slash in the air and actually attack her. And I escape the laser beams at the same time. Not then, but you get it, you get it. The flame works. Jump, parry, slash out. Oh my god. Okay, so that's one thing Hakumen can't really deal with is stuff that's like far away from me that I'm dashing into. That's fair, I guess. But this is, like, this to me is a premier showcase of what the game's all about. Like, I have potentials that have changed my build. I am now doing, like, shadow slash in the air. Ooh. I have iframes on my dash. I'm trying to heal a little bit. I don't think I picked up the HP for like full heal when using a health pot. I didn't, but honestly, it's like 90%. Maybe not that high, but still, it's pretty good. All right, a couple dodges. Dodge the butterfly. She's almost dead. I gotta make sure that I'm applying Ren. I think I got one Ren stack just then. There we go. We actually got the execute on the boss. You see the 999s? Kendachi, upon dashing, the next attack is the third attack of the combo. So what Kendachi means is that after you do a dash, every character has like a 1, 2, 3 basic attack combo. What it now does is that it skips the 1, 2, 3 if I dash and immediately turns into 3. It unfortunately doesn't work with Sekka. Sekka is the thing that fires the horizontal wave forward and backward. I kinda wish it did, but it's technically the third attack of the combo and not heavy strike. So I get it, but that should be what it does, is it turns into Sekka. All right, so now we're entering Space Omega. If you have not seen this, Space Omega is basically Dead Cells. The game turned into like fighting room by room, and now it's a full-on Metroidvania. With platforming, if you have characters with like good mobility, you can get through faster because there is like a timer that's going. It's not counting down to something bad, it's counting up to like a special benefit. All right, we found our first shop. This always has the same three things. It's XP, heal, or remove a corruption. We're gonna get rid of the thunderbolts because those are really annoying. And then I'm full HP, so we're gonna get more XP. Giant Slayer, gotta take that. We're going into a boss fight. Like, hands down, the best thing to pick up here. So the way how this map works is you're basically traveling around, killing monsters, and you're trying to get to certain checkpoints. The checkpoints give you money for the shop, meta currency, and then sometimes it'll give you like a corruption, or it'll give you something else like a health pot. But it's basically like this right here. In order to get that, I have to beat the elite sample, which is the mini boss, in 300 seconds. Which, I don't know if you're a math major, I think that's what, 5 minutes? The map has big enemies like these, which are pretty tanky. There's also fall damage, so if you're able to knock an enemy off a platform, then they take damage on the way down. All right, this one needs a kill streak, so we're gonna come back for that. This one is just free to take. It's a health pot, a little bit of money, and some meta currency. I actually really like this right here. If you were to ask me, like, do I prefer this area over, like, going through map by map? I feel like they're not, it's like apples to oranges. I like both, and if I can have both in one game, then that's awesome. If the game was entirely platforming and Metroidvania, then I think it would have a different feel to it. I think a game like this needs arenas to fight in so that you get to practice like your combos. But then there's a lot of like mobility that's added, like dash uppercuts, aerial dash finishers and stuff like that. And here is where you get to see that the most. Or like that, where like slash goes double the distance. Like you don't really get to see that in the arena areas, but you definitely see it here. All right, my kill streak's at 19, just one more Ooh, it just died to the flame. The flame actually hits through walls. It's pretty convenient. Let's go back. We're gonna grab this thing here. 120 bucks, more meta currency. I don't know if this area is procedurally generated. I have a feeling that the elite sample is always on the top end of the map, and then the actual boss is always on the bottom end. I don't know if this necessarily needs to be procedurally generated. I know if the game has like beat the elite sample within whatever amount of time, then having it always spawn in the same place means that like I'm always gonna know where it is. So I'll always meet the timer. I think it would make more sense that this was randomized. And I don't know if it is or not. So I'm gonna have to find out. All right, so here is the mini boss. We're well past 5 minutes. So I don't have to rush this. Let's go back to the shop real quick. Actually, before we go to the shop, I remembered that we have one more little checkpoint to grab. This one gives you more money in AP, but actually gives you a detriment. It's called Exhausted. You can see all of your detriments here on the corruption effect screen. I don't know if you all know this. Exhausted increases the damage you take by 50%. We're going into the last 2 bosses of the game. We absolutely cannot have that. So let's make sure we get rid of that at the shop. All right, so we're gonna take remove effect, and we're gonna do it twice. One for the skill damage, one for the exhaust. I'm full HP, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab the tactics. Ring of double fire. There are now 2 rings of fire. That's, again, I've never taken that before, and the game actually tells you if you've never taken something. Next, so I only get to heal one more time. I have to fight the mini boss, so I'm gonna take another upgrade. Combo protection, really good against this boss coming up. And then I'll have enough money to use the health recovery once we're done with the boss. All right, so we're headed in. This one gives me trouble depending on what the build is. It's a very interesting fight, very unique compared to the other monsters in the game. Non-01. What she does is she teleports to a certain area, and then she'll either fire a wave forward or she'll summon pillars. The wave is pretty easily dodgeable. Matter of fact, I've had multiple situations where I thought for sure I should get hit by this, and the game decides, no, we actually like you today. There's also a rising floor, Sonic the Hedgehog style. We're already in phase 2, which is actually kind of incredible. Don't stand in the corner. She does hit those. She comes back, does more pillars. I kind of have to get hit sometimes because if I don't actually deal damage, this is going to take forever. I would not be surprised if Lambda's portal is doing like the majority of the damage in this fight. Also, the fire wave that's dancing around my character, that's actually hitting twice for like 3,000 damage or something. All right, so you can see my... Ooh, that's painful. I'm gonna have to heal. I had no other way to get up. 600 life. All right, so she's up there. All right, she's already gone. So I have to wait for her to finish doing that, and then I can go in, and then I can do damage. But once these waves come out, then I have to run. But then she does this again, so I have to wait. I have to put up the portal, slash back in, and this is basically like rinse repeat without making any mistakes. Sometimes I just take the hit, because if I let her do this over and over again, I end up never doing anything. And besides, I heal 40% after this anyway. Another potential. We got Hotaru, which is an uppercut. Shiden has a lot of synergies. I might not actually do the blink, but having all of those synergies might do something for us. Renka has a synergy on it too. It also buffs my ground basic attack, so maybe that's a good idea. Even if I don't do Renka is this thing. It's okay because at least I'm getting bonus damage. The synergy we have is we're immune to damage for a while when we have the super armor of Renka. So you can kind of see when I do the combo, my character shines a little bit. I believe that's the invulnerability. It's just like, that's not really where most of my damage comes from. Yeah, it's 4 hits and it'll apply Ren, but I don't know if it's a good idea for us to spam that. All right, last shot, 40% heal, and then it's time to go into the boss. All right, here we go. Now, I'm not a BlazBlue lore fanatic. If you know everything about BlazBlue, please let me know. Is Hakumen actually able to fight Susanoo? Or no? Like, they're the same person, right? So how does this work? Is this like alternate timeline? Is there time travel in this game? Ooh, this is big, but huge parry lets me get through it. See, that's the stuff I wasn't doing on Hakumen. I wasn't utilizing the parry for movement, and I wasn't doing it as just an engage almost. It's the way I get in. We gotta do the can opener. That's my can opener. Now, I did see that I applied Ren one time, and like, there's Ren. You can see when he walks, he actually takes damage. Every step is like Ren doing more damage. Ooh, big hit right there. Oh, I've never seen that before. All right, phase 2, jump to avoid the laser beams, but you still take damage from something that I don't know what it is. Either way, we're gonna heal because I have a lot of health pots. So phase 2 is super interesting. He drops these things, lanterns, I guess, all over the map. I don't know if the lanterns buff him or not, but I don't think you can leave them out. He also goes dark, where like you can barely see him. Luckily, I attack like the entire screen, so I don't really need to know where he is. Really, the whole build is me just trying to land like triangle, square, and then you hold square. Oh, I'm in a combo string. Let me out. Ooh, sick parry. I think he actually tried to do a full screen skill on me. Susanoo also takes this parry stance. I don't know if it's like a true parry that he'll attack you after or if it's just damage reduction. Typically, I'm on... Wow, I got... Oh my god. I'm getting hit by like DBZ Fighter Z hit. Either way, clean fight. My first win, I love that ending screen. My first win on Hakumen. If you're a Hakumen main, let me know in the comments. If you're a big fan of this character, I am going to start using him more often because I think he's actually really good. If you know the full backstory about Hakumen versus Susanoo, let me know that too. And also let me know if you've gotten any wins at all. If so, on what character. Either way, I love the game. I think it's fantastic. And that was only standard difficulty. There's actually an advanced difficulty that I've only gone into one time. If you like BlazBlue, follow the channel. We're posting this as much as possible because it's actually a fantastic game. If you like this and other roguelikes we play, subscribe. We actually do live streams as well that you can catch. Leave a like on the video. Let me know that you're enjoying this series. Either way, I hope you all enjoyed it just as much as I do, and I'll catch you on the next one.